So let's talk about Niger. I don't even know that's the correct pronunciation. Supposedly Niger is French, and some people in Niger would be offended if you call it Niger. So I don't
Oh,
know what because it's a
okay.
colony, right? It's colonized, and that's why it's called Niger. I don't know. Let's just call it Niger for now. So people know that there's influence of certainly the French influence and the U.S. influence, but actually China has some influence there too. So this, you can see this map, right? So here is a map that China is building an oil pipeline. You can see this, the dot is the oil pipeline. Okay, from Niger all the way to the harbor, the port of Simi. I think that's it called Simi something. Okay,
Hmm.
so this pipeline, I mean here in this area there's oil field, very rich oil in there, and China has been there since 2008. They have been extracting oil and processing, all that kind of thing, finery, etc. And now they are building this. I think this one started building like in 2-3 years ago. The pipeline is about 70% ready, and China already spent, I believe, $4 billion or something, etc. So you see, this is very important. This is potentially a game changer because it can carry the oil to the harbor, to the ocean now. And so that's where China's interest is in Niger, which probably not many people know.
Yeah.
So far, I mean, maybe for that reason, China has been pretty cautious about the whole situation. If you see what the foreign minister talking about the coup. So here's what it says. It says China is closely following the development of the situation in Niger and has noted relevant remarks by the UN and the ECOWAS. President Mohamed Bazoum is a friend of China because all these deals that I'm talking about, that they had to deal with him. Okay. We hope that his personal safety is ensured, and the relevant parties of Niger will bear in mind the fundamental interest of the nation and the people, settle differences peacefully through dialogue, restore normal order at an early date, and uphold the stability and development of the nation. We believe Niger and other countries in the region have the wisdom and capability to find a political solution to the current situation.
Yeah.
So you can see China so far doesn't even call it a coup. The Chinese media doesn't even call it a coup. I
Yeah.
mean, but China's policy in general, just China likes stability. Okay, so that as long as there's a stable country with a leader who is in charge, they can deal with that person. So that's China's approach. So tell me a little bit of what the U.S. I didn't even know U.S. has troops there in Niger, in that region, in the West Africa, and certainly
Um,
the French influence.
yeah, I mean, the USA has troops all over Africa. I mean, AFRICOM is a huge, section of the U.S. military. And it's about Africa's resources, and it's about maintaining U.S. influence, and that it's pretty clear the United States doesn't approve of the recent changes in the government in Niger. And that, the fact that France, a close ally of the United States, has lost its uranium, and that has basically lost control of the country, and the country is moving in a more independent direction. My concern is that this could lead to an all-out war, that World War III could start on the African continent, and that wouldn't be good for anybody. As much as I think it's good to see African countries asserting their independence, and they just had the Russia Africa summit, and I mean, we're seeing Africa assert its economic independence more and more and more, and Russia and China are a big part of that, and I think that's a good wave of development. I would like to see a de-escalation. I would like to, because it seems like there's all the governments in that region are polarized and lining up against each other, and this could lead to an all-out war, and that wouldn't be good for anybody. To have a proxy war between the United States and France and China and Russia in Africa would not be good. So my hope is that there can be a resolution to this, that it can de-escalate. But overall, the trend is Africa is developing, and I think that Africa is the future. And I think that people don't realize that, but I think that Asia is rising now, right? Europe had its time, Asia is rising now, but after Asia will be Africa, and that Africa, there's so much natural resources there, and there's such a big population there that Africa is going to be the future, and we should recognize that, and people forget that. So there you go.